Shake the table.
The one I'm gonna sit through twice.
What's your...
I can't even remember, but I just watched it tonight. The last video I sent you with.
Okay. Anyways.
So there's your answer.
And I don't know what that was. Even. Yeah, I didn't even check.
Now it's time for Dawnbreaker in DC Metal. This is the crazy event that is going on. DC Metal. I'm going to link the playlist down below so you can catch entirely up if you don't know what this is. But this one is going to be about Dawnbreaker. What if Batman became the Green Lantern and became evil? And don't forget, we still have our Comic Storian Metal t-shirt to help you celebrate the metal event here at Comic Storian and the DC Metal event. Be the cool guy that has a unique shirt that blends into the event. Should be on the screen right now, but let's go ahead and get to that Dawnbreaker video, because this may be one of my favorites. I need to see them all, but this might be my favorite. These are the stories from the dark multiverse that should never be. Witness the rise of the Dark Knights. How do I feel? In that moment when my whole world changed? We go back to the moment when Bruce Wayne was a child, standing over the bodies of his parents. The moment that defined him, that turned him into the Batman. The moment where the gunman stood there and realized his mistake. When I stood there, helpless as my mom and dad's blood was running into the gutter, I felt nothing. This is the moment that changed Bruce in this universe. But what if instead of being terrified, what if instead of letting this moment define him in his goal to stop crime, it defined him in a different way? And he chased that man. He showed no fear. Something behind him sensed that, and it ran after him. Bruce Wayne, you have the ability to overcome great fear. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps. I remember I didn't overcome fear. It was obliterated from me. And I didn't give any thought to the word core, or even what the hell was talking to me. All I cared about was him. Bruce floated on top of him. You bastard! And he pointed the ring at the man, prepared to do the one thing that the ring would not allow. Bruce wanted to kill that man. Instead of killing him, though, it charged up and it told him, error, first law of the Green Lantern Corps, lethal force not permitted. And Bruce wasn't stopped, and he shouted, kill him! And again it told him, no. He looked at the ring. I don't care. Do as I say. And it began to read willpower at 100%. Willpower at 117%. Bruce remembers that day. He didn't feel fear or doubt. He just felt the void inside of him. And he shouted that he deserved to die. Bizarre and strange constructs came out of the ring and it began to read. Error. Willpower exceeds. And then the messages got garbled and it announced, lethal force enabled, as it tore the flesh and bone away from the man that killed his parents. He remembers his
Batman
thoughts.
has enough
I had the most
willpower to
powerful weapon in the
freaking
universe
break
on
the
my
Green
finger.
Lantern ring's
And he went back to the bodies. Bring back my mom and dad. The ring had tapped into something unholy, and it began to raise the dead. And Bruce remembered that he would have given up the ring to have his real parents back, not these zombie versions as they stood up. As he launched into the sky, leaving them there, he was alone. At first, they called him a hero, and due to that, Jim Gordon called him to the rooftop of the GCPD to question him about a few missing persons. Bruce advised him to remain polite, as the last cop who threatened him regretted it. The issue is that Bruce is killing without remorse or boundaries. Why did these villains deserve to live when his parents didn't? Why? Jim continues to ask about the people who are missing, asking the Lantern what he did to these crooks, to the Scarecrow, the Penguin, Two-Face. We see that he flew through the building, pointing his ring at them, and then he initiated something that we had never seen before, and he told the ring to initiate blackout. All around, the void exited Bruce, as it was inside of him all along, and everything went into the darkness, except his eyes and the ring. The villains did nothing but scream in terror, and as Bruce said, in the darkness, he wasn't alone anymore. As for the Penguin, he took him into space, and he left him there to be torn apart by comets. And then he looked at Jim. Just look up. See that? It's his spleen and his brains. Jim stops. Lantern, this has to stop. This isn't justice. I don't care what you do to me. Someone has to stand up for what's right. What you did to Detective Bullock, God help him. I know you're hurting, but Bruce summons a giant Green Lantern as he tells Jim, you don't know me. I'm not an idiot. A couple of years ago at 3 Dead in Crime Alley, aren't you tired of feelings like this? Bruce, shut up. You have a daughter, right? Sad she'll have to grow up without a dad. And Bruce turns around blasting Jim Gordon with the ring, killing him. At that moment, he gets a warning. The entire Green Lantern Corps is coming to town, and he sees them, and he realizes that there are a lot of Green Lanterns out there. And he turns to his ring, and he simply says, "Ring?" It responds by initializing Blackout. And all around the Lantern Corps, creatures of darkness and terror appear. They envelop and surround the Corps, and he tells them, "I have friends too. I made them in the dark." The Corps is decimated instantly, with most of them being killed. But one Guardian survived, and he pulled himself towards Bruce, telling him, "Stop. The darkness, it destroys everything." And in response, Bruce tore his head off his body. And then he remembered how he felt. Vulnerable, helpless, alone. He missed them and he couldn't take it anymore. He didn't want to be Bruce Wayne. He didn't want to be the Green Lantern. He wanted to be something more. Something of the darkness. The Dawnbreaker. With the darkness black, I choke the light. No brightest day escapes my sight. I turn the dawn into midnight. Beware my power, Dawnbreaker's might. At that moment, he accepted who he was. He realized his world was crumbling away. He knew what was swallowing it. It was the void that was inside of him, and it consumed all the light. And as he floated throughout the void, it spoke to him. "Nice Earth you've got there. How's it working out for you?" "Call me the man who laughs, and I'm recruiting. This is Red Death, and that is Murder Machine, and you'll be fast friends, I'm sure. You have so many things in common. Revenge, justice, first names." There's a world bathed in light. The people there are fools. They deserve to be dragged into the dark. Their world will crumble like yours. Lord Barbatos demands it. You're a warrior of the darkness, and you can extinguish the light. Barbatos can spare you from this darkness and bring you to which you most desire. Your parents. All my lord demands is your obedience. Will you kneel or will you die? Well, over Earth Zero, we see what the Dawnbreaker decided as he soars over Coast City and is in awe at the light and the people living in it. He simply thinks of them as idiots, and he decides that it's time for their world to change forever. He hovers over them, calling out, "Ring, initiate Blackout." But Hal Jordan appears, telling him, "Stop where you are." He turns around, and right away, Hal recognizes the face. "Bruce, is that you?" Dawnbreaker turns to him, "I have to warn you. I've killed Green Lanterns before, and I'll do it again." The creatures in the darkness of Bruce's ring begin to pour out, bite, and snap at Hal Jordan's feet. He calls out to his ring to stop it, but the ring is confused and has no idea what this even is. With that, it swallows up Hal Jordan into the darkness, and without the light, there is no Green Lantern's might. Until a symbol appears in the darkness. What a fate! And he draws Hal Jordan out of the fight, leaving Dawnbreaker alone in Coast City as the Blackout Protocol hits the whole thing. The world of light, a city of hope. Disgusting. Let them feel helpless. Let them feel the void. Let them feel like me. And there you have it, Dawnbreaker. Now let me know in the comments down below, out of the 3 that we've covered so far, Murder Machine.
So, how do you rate the story?
Weird.
How do you rate this version of Batman?
Creepy, and this dude's weird too.
It won't be the last time you'll be hearing from him. Just so you know.
Weird. Just so you know.
Would you want to react possibly in the future to the other versions from this?
I guess, even though that means watching more of the weird dude.
You ready, Ma?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Welcome to Death Metal, right here at Comic Story, where we read your comic books dramatically back to you by narrating them, allowing you to keep up like it's an audio drama. Death Metal is the continuation to DC Metal and what has happened with the Justice League. Basically, in DC Metal, we discover that there's a dark multiverse in an evil Batman. In the Justice League comic, we discover that there is Perpetua, an evil being who is trying to rewrite the multiverse. And in the final battle, the Justice League seemingly lost. This continues that storyline, but before we get into this book, guys, I do want to tell you, we are coming out of a pandemic right now, and this is the first big event that DC is putting out. If you want to help the industry recover from the pandemic, you want to make sure that your favorite comic books never end, then go to Comixology, click the link, buy this issue yourself. Go to your favorite comic book store, buy this issue yourself. It's the best way to help this stuff happen. It's the best way to keep this industry going. And if you do like this type of content, consider getting a like on this video. But let's pick up a short time after the loss of the Justice League. A rumble in the
Just
dark.
so you know, we're both
on.
confused here.
Sergeant Rock stands there smoking a pack of cigarettes, smiling.
Yeah.
Well, look who it is. I told him you'd show up. Someone tells him to hurry up, but he yells, "You gotta be quiet." He lets the person know that the battle is raging.
The war
They've got a real turd burger
era
topside.
comics.
Another blast. It's like you're at a drive-thru and out comes a juicy half-pounder with curly fries, and you bite into it, bam, turd. And your fries, kablam, curly turds. He tells him, but Rock smiles, telling the person to take that burger and shove it down the waiter's throat. Because we're still fighting back, he tells them, holding up a massive rifle. And we're gonna have some fun doing it. Hoorah!
Big gun.
The realm of the DCU. Wonder Woman lowers her whirling chainsaw, sparks flying, reflecting and illuminating her wielder's goggles. A voice calls out, gaining her attention. I bring news. Swamp Thing tells her, his body smoking and smoldering. Well, good or bad, she asks, pulling down the goggles and staring at her friend. Alec looks at her, telling her, he's bringing a prisoner. Huh, I didn't know there were any villains left in the world above to imprison here, Diana notes. But Swamp Thing stares solemnly up at the ceiling. Oh, I can think of a few hundred at least. Pointy ears, bats on their chest. He tells his friend. Wonder Woman asks who are they bringing, but Alec isn't sure. It's someone important. He has muscle with him. I sense 3 bats. He tells her. Diana is shocked at who could warrant such a guard. They walk out of the chamber, leaving her chainsaw idle and the invisible jet waiting quietly. Donning her full regalia, Wonder Woman walks through the prison, bringing cries of freedom to the villains in prison there. Even the Joker leads out of his cell with bat-shaped sunglasses on his face. Psst, Wonder Woman, I think you're doing a bang-up job. He smiles at her. Alec pulls out the vines, grasping the glasses, ripping them off his face. Joker, where did you get these? You know that the symbol is forbidden to all except his Dark Knights. If they catch you, they'll throw you in the pits. He snaps angrily, but Joker begins to cackle. Go ahead. The world up there is ruled by Batman. Down here is paradise to me. He laughs. Arriving at the entrance hall, Diana is greeting the 3 Batmen that stand waiting. Batmage holds up the chain to their cloaked
It's a dinosaur Batman.
while the others wait quietly. Diana, you're late, Batmage notes. Diana nods, telling them that she would never receive them without her full regalia. She tells the mage that they are running out of cells, asking where he expects her to put this one. Oh, this one isn't going in a cell. Open the pits directly, Batmage tells her. The pits? Who the hell are you asking me to lock up? She asks. Bat-Rex steps forward, a massive T-Rex that shares Batman's color scheme. Do as you're told, or it'll be your sister screaming in the pits. He roars at her, but the beast does not frighten Diana. Speak of my sisters again, reptile, she warns. Bat-Rex huffs, telling her that he is Batman, and she nods, knowing the story of how, in his world, Batman uploaded his consciousness to the robot dinosaur in the Batcave. Can you throw batarangs with those tiny little arms? She asks. Bat-Rex pauses for a moment. They're proportional and I'm working on it, he tells her. Alec finally steps forward, calming everyone, and Diana finally opens up the pits.
No, but he has a lot of a big
Batmage
mouth and
nods,
a
telling
lot
her
of
that their
teeth.
lord has called for a meeting at Castle Bat, and she is to attend. As the prisoner passes, he looks up from the hood. Diana, remember, he whispers, and her eyes go wide with shock as she steps forward, but Batmage is there telling her that they don't want to be late for their master. Castle Bat, located on the site of an ancient park. Bruce remembers when his father would bring him there as a child. It's a place where the colonists of
A
Gotham
Joker
fought
dragon?
against the British. They called themselves the Deadbeats,
Robin.
and they were all killed for their crimes. The Robins all look down with their twisted smiles from their perches, sharp teeth and hungry eyes glowing in the night. Overhead, Joker dragons are swooping and diving into the red-hued night air, and the Batman who laughs looks at all of those that have gathered, knowing that they are sick of him. But he laughs, as they know that if they didn't arrive, he would
A
kill them
weird
all.
Harley Quinn.
Tell me, have there been any captures in your territories? He asks. First, he turns to Harley Quinn, Hunter of the Wastelands, accompanied by Dr. Arkham and her hyenas and giant bats. Yet she shakes her head. Aquaman, commander of the Black Fleet. And Aquaman tells him nay. He turns to Diana and Batmage, informing the warden that the new prisoner is not to be messed with. Understood, Diana nods. He turns last to Mr. Miracle, clad in chains that even he can't break free of. Superman has almost succumbed to the anti-life equation, Miracle notes, with an image of the Man of Steel appearing before them. Batman, who laughs, congratulates his Justice League on a job well done, informing them
Okay,
that
but why do
Perpetua
you
has
have
destroyed
Mr.
another
Miracle
world,
tied up?
killing off Earth 22. Only 8 of the multiverses remain. As Batman continues his speech, Diana suddenly hears a voice in her head. The voice of the one true Batman. Diana, can you hear me? He asks. She questions how he's able to do this, and Batman tells her, I made my own version of Jean's telepathic link years ago. I know that you just melted down your invisible jet, that you want to use it to create armor that will hide us. We can use that to infiltrate the castle. Use the Batman Who Laughs tech to hide a world from Perpetua, Batman tells her. But Diana doesn't know. She believes that they should just fight back to get all of the worlds back. And Batman's voice is still in her mind, telling her that they need to save whoever's left. That's all they can do. Lost in the thought, the Batman Who Laughs suddenly asks her, bringing her back to the group, and he smiles, telling her, in some worlds, you and Bruce are lovers. I truly know you better than your own Bruce ever did. I'll only ask you once. What secrets are you hiding? He asks her with a broad smile, but she stares at him angrily, telling him that he knows nothing of her. The Batman Who Laughs nods, circling her, telling her, I can take away your friends, burn the last of the Parliament of Trees. Diana, don't let him. Alec groans, still smoldering and smoking. Suddenly an arrow is launched out of the trees, and the Robins leap in front of their master, taking the explosion to no effect. Bruce, is that you? Let me guess, you're wearing the cloak of Erasure, given to us by Zatanna the time that we saved her father from Neuron. Come on, I know you. The Batman Who Laughs calls, smiling, and Batman removes the cloak from the tree line, clad in a leather trench coat and carrying a crossbow. Nice coat! You look like someone who came to dance in my grave. Lucky for me, you don't kill! Batman's eyes narrow. I don't dance either, but I'd make an exception for you. The Batman Who Laughs cackles, ordering his men to kill Batman. His Justice League moves forward as more Batmen pour out of a portal. Diana tries to help her friend, but Batmage uses his powers to stop her. Baphomet wraps his tentacles around Aquaman, and the giant bats herd Harley before she can help. Yet, through it all, Batman doesn't move. Just standing there, not fighting back! The One Who Laughs asks, what would the brave men and women who died say? Batman holds up his hand, revealing the Black Lantern ring on his finger. Just one thing. Rise! He growls, and all around him, the deadbeats begin to crawl out of the ground. They pull free, turning their rotting heads to stare at their new master. And Batman points at the Batman Who Laughs, ordering them to attack. The zombies clash with the Dark Knights, fighting in the field. Batman turns to escape, thinking to Diana that this is how they need to fight. Street battles, small victories. But Diana tells him of a new prisoner and how they can fix everything. Don't even think that way. It's too dangerous, too many deaths, he tells her. He hops aboard his bat by turning to the man holding it. Hex, they're all yours, he tells the cowboy. Finally, a party where I'm the pretty one, Hex whispers, joining the fight. On the bone planet of Ossex, a lone figure walks through the marrow waste when he finally stops, swinging his axe hard, breaking through the bone, and he discovers a box, wiping away the dust from the cigar in his hand. Did you find it? It's the key to everything. Talk to me. A voice calls over the radio, and Lobo stands up smiling. Oh, I found it. And now it's time for the main man to live up to this joint. At her prison, Diana sits before the entrance to the pit, gazing into the green smoke of the entrance. Finally, she stands up, making up her mind. She opens the gate, beginning to step through, and Alex steps forward, warning her that the Batman Who Laughs might sense this. I'm not powerful enough to fight beside you anymore, he warns her, and Diana nods, speaking over her shoulder to her old friend. Alec, you should run now. I can't take this darkness anymore, and I can't fight the way that Bruce wants. This has to be a way to turn it all back, she tells him, but Alec doesn't leave. I will be here, ready to fight beside you as best as I can, he tells her. She thanks him and disappears, and in the pit, she finds the hooded figure sitting quietly in the waste. I was expecting fire and brimstone. I forgot that the 9th level is a cold wasteland, he tells her, his breath steaming in the frigid air. Is it really you, Wally West? She asks, and Wally pulls down his hood, revealing his blue costume and the Dr. Manhattan symbol on his forehead. It's me, or what's left of me, he tells her. Wally stands, and Diana asks what happened. She doesn't remember how they got her, just that they fought Perpetua, and the next thing that Diana knew, Batmen were ruling the Earth. If I could erase everything that I've done, I would, Diana. I'm so tired, he tells her. Diana nods, holding her friend, telling him to take this moment and rest. They sit, and Wally explains the multiverse to Diana. He tells her that there are 2 poles. For every positive energy in the multiverse, there is a negative. I have come to call it crisis energy, he tells her. Beings like Perpetua are tasked with creating multiverses. They create these worlds and they die, yet Perpetua created their multiverse using the crisis energy. One that would forever live in a self-renewing loop of its own importance. A multiverse that would prey on others, absorb them and forget them. Her kind found out what she had done, and they began our reality over, trapping her in the source swamp, in the hopes that by watching our growth she would come to love us, he explains. Yet, only her rage grew. She began to whisper to those that she could, stroking their greed and anger, instigating crises. He tells her that a being known as Dr. Manhattan arrived and tried to fix their world. But it didn't have the desired effect. So the Quintessence gathered the energy and gave it to the Justice League. But Perpetua harnessed the crisis energy and they fought. I don't know what happened in that fight, only that it exhausted both forces in a powerful blast that burned away the sun. Diana questions why Perpetua will remain so powerful, and Wally tells her that the Batman Who Laughs continues to provide her energy from the dark multiverse, where the crises have endlessly happened. Maybe we can beat her at her own game, Diana suggests. Create the first anti-crisis. And the Batman Who Laughs growls from the darkness and steps out. I love that idea. If you were really smart, you'd call the two energies anti-crisis and direct crises. Get it? AC and DC. But go on, please. Pretend I'm not here. She steps between the Batman Who Laughs and Wally, ordering the demon to stay back. She knows that he won't kill her friends, that he won't have any way to feed Perpetua the crisis energies. And he smiles, telling her, oh, I have my own plans. Right now, my knights have Swamp Thing at their mercy. You help me, you play your part, and on the other side, I will honor our promise. I will give you and all the people that Perpetua holds captive a planet of your own. You will be safe. You have my word, he tells her, stepping forward. But fight me, and I will hurt your friends in ways that you can't even imagine. He smiles, seeing what she is thinking, and he tells her, you can't outthink me. Let me guess your strategy. Knock me out, dip your armor in the cauldron where the invisible jet was melted down, and suddenly you have a shield to hide behind, he tells her. His grin growing wider, but Diana shakes her head, telling him that he knows Bruce, and Bruce would have made a shield. So what, you make a weapon? A sword? No, I have already made it, and it wouldn't have just been a sword. She tells him, pulling out the starter on an invisible chainsaw. And it roars to life as she lashes out, cutting into the Batman Who Laughs. Batmage jumps through the portal into Castlevette, finding the Robins waiting for him, and they crowd around the mage. Yes, he's gone. You were his favorite three, so you should know. It's time to initiate his true plan, Batmage tells them, pressing a smiley face button, opening up a large door in the far end of the room. A being emerges from the blue light within with the symbol of hydrogen on his forehead. Groblins prepare the body of the final Bruce Wayne. Sergeant Rock, meanwhile, is continuing to fire, still rambling about the turd burger, when Batman appears behind him, telling him that the fight is happening now. He picks up the commando, lighter since his body has been ripped in half. The big one! Sergeant Rock asks, one last fight. Everyone, together, Batman growls. And that concludes Death Metal Issue 1. Now don't...
Ma, how do you rank that issue? That story?
Just as weird as the last one.
Batman?
He was okay.